first scream echoed across the Great Pyramid of Giza just as the morning sun broke over the eastern horizon. It was a sharp, jagged sound that pierced the serene desert air, cutting through the anticipatory chatter of the gathered crowd. Hundreds of tourists stood frozen with their phones raised high, desperate to capture the celestial spectacle of sunlight striking the ancient limestone of the precise mathematical angle it had for thousands of years. Renowned researchers from every corner of the globe had descended upon the plateau to document newly discovered chambers deep beneath the Giza surface. Archaeologists stood in small, huddled groups, debating the implications of their latest findings, celebrating yet another chapter of humanity's unraveling of ancient Egypt's profound secrets. For millennia, the pyramids had stood as silent, stoic witnesses to the rise and fall of civilizations. To the uninitiated, they were merely tombs, gilded graves for long-dead kings. But the ancient Egyptians knew the truth. They believed they were machines of light, conduits for cosmic power. Every passage, ventilation shaft, and hidden chamber had been aligned with breathtaking, impossible precision. They were attuned not only to the constellation of Orion and the star Sirius, but to the exact trajectory of the rising and setting sun during the critical solstices and equinoxes. According to the ancient wisdom, these sacred alignments acted as a bridge, allowing divine energy to flow seamlessly between the earth and the heavens. At the center of the cosmic architecture stood Ra, the sun god, the creator of life, lord of sky, and father of kings. For centuries, modern historians dismissed these legends as mere mythology, colorful stories crafted by a primitive culture to explain the unknown. They were wrong, and that morning, the world would finally learn why. A multinational research team had been utilizing high-frequency, ground-penetrating radar to scan the dense, weathered stones near the northern face of the Great Pyramid. The silence of the desert was broken when a lead technician signaled his team, pointing toward an oddly smooth, massive slab buried beneath centuries of shifting sand. Excitement rippled through the group. Brushes were deployed, moving with rhythmic care to sweep away the golden grains. As more of the stone emerged from earthen prison, and an eerie silence settled over the workers. Carved into the cold granite was a single, enormous eye. It seemed to possess a terrifying, latent vitality. Its iris was composed of impossible, intricate lines that caught and reflected the morning sunlight like polished gold, despite having been entombed in darkness for thousands of years. Below the eye, ancient, weathered hieroglyphs circled the carving. Dr. Nadia Hassan, the team's lead linguist, felt her skin prickle as she translated the inscription aloud.
"The eye watches,"
she read, her voice barely a whisper.
"The eye remembers. The eye protects the first light."
Her hands trembled as she brushed away sand, revealing a final, chilling line.
"Let no child of dust awaken the one who created the dawn."
The warning hung in the air, heavy and palpable. Across the security barricades, tourists leaned in, their cameras clicking furiously, streaming the discovery to millions watching in real time across the globe. One young visitor, emboldened by the disconnect between the ancient stone and his modern reality, scoffed.
"It's probably just another clever tourist attraction."
he muttered. He reached out and brushed his finger across the cold, carved eye. The world stopped. The sunlight vanished instantly. It wasn't the arrival of clouds. It was as if something massive and celestial had eclipsed the sun itself. As the crowd looked upward, a collective gasp swept across the plateau. The sky had turned to ink, a void of absolute black. Yet the desert remained illuminated, not by the warm yellow glow of the sun, but by blinding, searing gold. A second sun had opened above the pyramid. Its light did not warm the skin, it judged the soul. The air became thick, vicious, and impossibly heavy. People collapsed to their knees, some weeping, others whispering desperate prayers to gods they had long ignored. Every electronic device in the vicinity died, screens going black, recordings erased by the sudden shift in the electromagnetic field. Then he appeared, a towering figure, seemingly constructed from living, roaring fire, descended upon the summit of the Great Pyramid. His body blazed with a brilliance that surpassed molten metal, and his face was that of a majestic falcon crowned by a radiant solar disk. His eyes were not merely features, they were twin novas, burning like newborn stars. Every heartbeat he took sent a shockwave thundering across the desert, shaking the very bedrock of Giza. No language was spoken, yet no translation was required. Every human present heard the voice resonate directly inside their own consciousness.
I am wrong.
The sound shattered windows across the city of Cairo. Birds fell lifeless from the sky, and the sand itself rippled like water. The researchers stood paralyzed, staring in profound horror at the entity before them. Some attempted to cry out, but their voices were stolen by the sheer weight of the god's presence. Ra surveyed the plateau, his burning gaze lingering on the intrusive machinery, the heavy cranes, the invasive drills, and the tourists who had treated the sacred ground as a mere backdrop for their vanity. He saw the gift shop selling fragments stolen from history, pieces of heritage they had failed to honor. He spoke again, his voice a tectonic roar.
I gave you life.
The desert floor blocked.
I taught your ancestors to watch the sun, to measure the stars, to build in harmony with creation.
As he spoke, the pyramid began to glow from within. Golden light surged through the hidden passages, and the ancient monument began to wake. Stone blocks groaned as they shifted, and massive inner chambers rotated as if guided by invisible, titanic hands. The pyramid was no longer a tomb. It was a living, breathing engine. News helicopters circled the chaos, their pilots struggling to maintain control as the air warped around the deity. Within the hour, the Egyptian government declared a national emergency. Military convoys flooded the Giza plateau, armored vehicles forming a desperate, pathetic ring around the pyramid. Attack helicopters hovered above the blazing figure, their pilots waiting for command that no one truly wanted to give. Generals barked orders, though every soldier knew deep down that bullets would never stop a star.
Fire!
Thousands of rifles erupted, machine guns roared, and tank shells screamed through the shimmering air. Missiles streaked toward Ra, but they never reached him. Each projectile simply stopped, suspended in midair, as if time itself had refused to acknowledge the attack. Ra slowly raised one glowing hand. The bullets melted into liquid gold, and the missiles disintegrated into harmless dust. The modern tanks rusted before the soldiers' eyes, aging thousands of years in a single heartbeat. Then came the light. It was not an explosion, but a dawn. Columns of radiant fire burst upward from beneath the pyramid, piercing the heavens. Ancient obelisks rose from the sand like defiant spears, their surfaces catching the light and refracting into impossible geometric patterns. The beams intersected above Ra, creating a celestial lens. The sky itself became an enormous, all-seeing eye. Every person looking up felt the mask of their identity slip. They saw every lie they had ever told, every betrayal, and every selfish choice laid bare. No one could hide, not from him, and certainly not from themselves. Every battalion collapsed, some laughing hysterically, others begging for mercy, their spirits shattered by the weight of absolute truth. Then silent. Ra descended until his burning feet hovered inches above the sand. He gazed out across the broken remnants of humanity, his anger having cooled into a far more devastating emotion, disappointment. His voice carried across every continent, bypassing every speaker and screen to reach into every mind.
You have dug into the bones of those who came before you. You have called greed discovery. You have called plunder knowledge. You seek treasure while you ignore the greatest treasure you were ever given.
The sun brightened, turning the desert white.
So long as you worship what can be owned,
He echoed.
you will lose what cannot.
Ra raised a hand toward the heavens, and the second sun dissolved. The darkness faded, and the natural light of the morning returned. The pyramid fell silent once more, the stones settling back into their eternal, stoic configuration. Ra faded into pure light, until nothing remained but the smell of ozone and the endless, indifferent wind of the desert. Governments rushed to issue denials, labeling the event a mass hallucination. Scientists scrambled to fabricate data, and military records were purged. Videos were corrupted or confiscated, and within months, the tourism industry returned to its profitable rhythm. Souvenir stands reopened, and construction on the new hotels resumed. People debated online, arguing over the reality of the event until the truth was buried under layers of cynicism and trivial argument. Life continued, as it always does, relentless and largely unreflective. Yet, every dawn, for exactly one heartbeat, the Great Pyramid cast the unmistakable, haunting shape of an eye across the desert floor. Most tourists never notice. They are too busy looking down at their phones, distracted by the very noise that Ra sought to silence. Perhaps that is the cruelest lesson of all. Humanity has always feared monsters lurking in the shadows, or gods descending into righteous judgment. But the warning Ra left behind was not about the threat of divine wrath. It was a mirror held up to us. The world rarely crumbles in a singular moment of fire. It erodes one careless choice at a time, one act of greed, one ignored responsibility, one moment of distraction. We become strangers to the humanity we claim to possess. And perhaps that is why the eye still watches every sunrise. Not to see if we fear gods, but to see if we will ever learn to fear the darkness we allow to grow quietly within ourselves.